Hey y'all, and welcome to The Wannabe Author. I'm Taryn, a writer figuring out how to turn my publishing dream into reality, one chaotic step at a time. This is the place where we talk books, writing struggles, mental health, and everything in between. Whether you're a writer, a reader, or just curious about the process, I am so glad you're here. Let's jump in. Hey y'all, and welcome back to The Wannabe Author. I'm your host, Taryn Christine, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to today's guest. Today's guest is the author of YA horror novel, Bad Creek. It is a vacation horror novel about family secrets, religious trauma, forbidden summer romance, and pretty girls who make ugly ghosts. This author was such a delight to have a conversation with. We got to get into her journey, where the inspiration came for this novel, and the advice she offers for other debut authors. This author had a real positive light to spin on the whole debut experience, and it was just a privilege to sit and hear her experience. I loved all the insight and the advice this author had to share, and I know that you will too. It is my absolute honor to introduce you all to Peyton June. Peyton, welcome to The Wannabe Author.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. It's an honor to have you here with us. You have a book coming out this year. That is so exciting, and I'm so excited to dive into everything regarding you, your journey, your book. I first like to start off by asking my guests, what are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading, it's a library book, so I'm supporting my local library. When the Bones Sing by Ginny Sain. Her first book was actually like one of my first comps that I used when querying agents. So I'm a big fan of her. She does like very witchy, kind of spooky. There's romance, there's mystery. They're all like YA, but I think very crossover vibes. And they're all set, like this one's set in Appalachia. Her first one is set in, I think it's in near New Orleans, but like this like tiny little town where everyone's psychic. And so I really like her books. The prose is really good. So whenever I'm like drafting something new, I like to read something that I like the prose of. So this is...
Yeah. Love that. That sounds so interesting. Okay. That's exciting. I just finished, what was it, last night? I sat down and I finished Thrum by Meg Smitherman, I think is her last name. Fantastic little horror sci-fi book.
Okay.
Loved it. Super fun. Really quick read. It's like this big. Anyway. Okay. Let's get diving into your story, your book. I first want to ask, what brought you to the point where, like, your origin story? What is your origin story of what brought you to the point where you finally sat down to write this story and you decided that you were going to get it published one day?
I like that you said finally, because I started and threw away and then like restarted books like throughout middle school and high school, as one does. And then my senior year of high school, I was like, I'm going to write a whole book. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm just going to do it. And then finished it my freshman year of college and then just like tucked it away in a drawer, banished it. And my senior year of college, I got like a minor in creative writing. So I had to do like a body of work. So I'm like, I'll fix up my novel. And I looked at it again and it was like, I was cringing at it. But I knew that because I was cringing, that means I can do better because I have an art background. And the second that your taste is better than your skill, that's when you start improving. So I kind of applied the same logic I did with my illustration work to this book and then put it away again because then COVID happened. And I was home alone, and the industry that I studied to be in, animation, I was not really liking the outlook of that during the COVID pandemic, as well as things about the industry that I just didn't really fit me to begin with. But because I was stuck home alone, I had to actually think about, do I want to join this industry? I don't think so. And so writing a book was kind of stalling. And then I actually researched publishing and learned about the process of how that works. And I was like, okay, I'm going to query an agent. What does that mean? And actually focused on what it means to get published. So I had to do a lot of reverse engineering because I wrote this book before I had any kind of comps. And I wrote this book before I knew what an audience was, and before I even knew what genre it was. I was kind of straddling a lot of genres. And I wasn't reading a bunch during this time. So as I was editing it, I actually had industry ideas in mind this time. And now when I work on something, I start with comps. I start with the agent pitch. I start with knowing what the audience is, knowing how I'm going to talk about it. Where this thing, I had this amorphous giant blob of work that I had to pull apart and deconstruct, and I do not recommend doing it that way.
Love that. It's such a learning process when you finally are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna totally get this published, and then you realize there's so much you have to learn regarding that.
This book was a beast, and it was my fault. Like, I made it harder for myself because I did the work before the research. We learned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Kind of paint the picture for us what it's like when you sit down to write. What are your routines? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Where are you at? And is there any specific content that you're ingesting, like music or anything like that?
I am a reformed pantser who's seen the light and am now a plotter. Especially because I do things like I write horror, but they're very like thriller adjacent. So there's always like a mystery involved. And I have to know what the whole backstory is before I can decide what little plot points the characters find. So I have to plot first. Do I always follow my outline? No, but we're not perfect. And when I write, I try to be in like a closed off environment. So I usually write in my desk, surrounded by my haunted dolls that protect me while I'm in the creative ether. And then when I edit, I like to go outside. I'll sit on the couch while my partner watches soccer or something. When I'm writing, I like to listen to instrumental, vibey type music. I just now got into Ethel Cain, like 2 years later than everybody else. I've been listening to a lot of like Ethel Cain for the project that I'm working on right now. And I try to light candles and like chew gum and like have a ritual about it, but I'm so impulsive that it's really hard for me to get a ritual started. Though I'd like to be one of those people that the writing process is more precious. But usually I'm eating while I'm doing it. My cat's crying in the background. Like, it's a little chaotic, but we'll get there.
You know, everyone's is different. I love it. Okay. Now, I'd love for you to tell the listeners about your journey to publication and what the most surprising aspect of the journey was.
So I started querying agents 2023, and the only like personalized rejection that I got was no one wants to read books about grief, which clearly is not true. But I was like, ooh, okay. So there's gonna be some things that I hear that I don't like to hear. Got it. I'm ready. And then I just felt like the book wasn't ready. So I found out about a bunch of like mentorship programs. And this is back when the writing community was still using the website formerly known as Twitter. And I applied for one, and I got in, and I got assigned mentors, and they were like, okay, right now you're straddling genres. Right now your like age group, like sometimes it feels more middle grade, sometimes it feels more adult, sometimes it feels more YA. Like, you got to be specific. And so I love having a direction. I miss having professors in college. I love somebody that's like telling me what to do, and I'm like, yes, and I'll do such a good job, and you'll give me a gold star. So I really enjoyed having the mentorship experience, and I really trusted my mentors, and they were really helpful with like me finding a direction. And a lot of the stuff that they were like suggesting, I had already thought about doing. So I was like, oh, you're confirming that like I can trust myself a little bit better now. And so I rewrote the whole book. Like, at first the story was like them trying to bring back the manic pixie dead girl like back to life. And then it became more, okay, how did she die actually? So the whole like crux of the mystery completely changed. It became a little bit less like magical and a little bit more like pure like horror thriller. And I started querying again in February 2024, and I got an agent quick. I got an agent in March, And that was like, oh, that was so exciting. And then once things start happening, it just kept happening. And then we got an offer in May, and that went public in June. And now the book comes out this June. So by the time the book got offered on, like, it's like a year timeline. So I'm on a super quick timeline. I later learned that a lot of people's timeline is closer to 2 years. I'm like, oh. And now that I'm in a bunch of group chats with like other TradPub debut authors, I'm learning all this stuff that I still don't know. Like, people are talking about, oh, how much is your buy-ins for this place, and oh, like, this indie bookstore, this indie, and I'm like, I didn't know these are things I'm supposed to know. And now I'm trying to find the balance between knowing about the things that I can actually change and affect and do, and how many things. It's like, that's up to my publicist. I'm good. I don't need to know this. And it's really hard for me to not be actively doing things, but I do take some peace in, okay, well, if the book flops, I'm just gonna write the next thing. I'm just gonna promo it like nothing's wrong. So we'll see. It's too early to tell, so it's also a weird thing of my family asking, like, oh, well, do you think you're gonna hit any bestseller lists? Like, girl, I'm trying to figure out how I'm painting my nails for my book launch event. Like, I'm not worried about that.
Love that. Oh, okay. Some enlightening things. I didn't even know some things that there's so much I feel like that you have to know regarding like your book and coming out. I just from obviously I'm not there, but from what I've heard from other authors. So it's interesting to hear more things of what you have to know, but also I think your book is going to hit. Like, it's got such a unique premise. I do want to ask what kind of I know this isn't on my list of questions, but what inspired your book?
So it's changed a million times, but it was always based in Indian River, Michigan, where I have postcards of it back here, where my family has stayed in the same campground for 6 generations. I'm the 5th generation. So, like, it used to be, like, you had to carry a gun on you because there were bears. Like, it was literally just tents. And now there's a bunch of rental cabins that are all along the river, which goes into, there's 2 lakes in town, and this town is the location for the 2nd largest crucifix in the world. So we'd also go visit the big monument. It's terrifying. It's the Jesus is carved out of wood, and he's staring down at you because you walk up these steps, and he's staring down at you like, are you even worthy of being in my presence? And I just look up and I'm like, probably not. So it takes place there, which of course leads to the religious trauma aspects. But I didn't go to Indian River after I was like 4 or 5. Like, my mom and my siblings, like, we stopped going for a while the rest of my family kept going. And my mom would talk about how her summers there were so magical, how her and her sister had these best friends that they'd see once a year, and how they like had this deep, loving friendship. And I was so jealous. But by the time I went again when I was like 18, like, I had a good time, but I was starting to think about all those other things that, like, your parents promise and they talk about the good old days. And I also turned 18 as President Trump was elected. So I was just thinking about, like, the good old days and how good were they actually, and how many people have rose-colored glasses, and how many people have an agenda to make us regress back to a different time. So I kind of have these ideas of, like, nostalgia. I have this idea of, like, tradition and feeling like an outsider in a place where I belong. Like, I go visit there, and I have all these people who are like my extended family, and they're like, oh yeah, you look like one of the King girls. And I'm like, that's not even my last name. Like, that's my mom's last name. Like, it was very weird to be an outsider in a place where you're supposed to belong, but I didn't have my squad of friends there. So, like, the friend group is kind of inspired by my mom and her aunt's stories, and, like, my friends in high school. And the location is named after a trail that I would, like, ride my bike on growing up. So I'm very sentimental. The main character, Iris, is, like, painfully sentimental, like, should be medicated for how sentimental she is. So yeah, like, the themes and the story just kind of evolved from my own feelings. And also, when I first started it, I was turning 18, like, I was growing up. And I think childhood is the first, like, grief we experience, like, growing up and all the things that you're never going to have and are lost now, and coming to terms with that. And I think our country is starting to come to terms with that.
Love. Thank you for sharing. I was very, very curious. I love that. Okay. What do you wish someone had told you when you were just an aspiring author, writing out either the book for the first time or getting it fixed up? What is something you wish someone had told you at that time?
I'm going to say the main thing, and I feel like I see this advice a lot, like, you need to be reading books. Like, you need, like, it feels like pulling teeth to write a sentence when you're not actively reading. And I think a lot of people, when they go to college, like, they stop reading as often unless they're like in school specifically for like some literature related degree. And it became so much easier for me to write at the sentence level and to feel secure in my decision making when I was actively reading a lot. And that helped me probably more than anything. Yes, doing industry research also like helped me a bunch. But you can do all this research you want, and like if you're not actively reading, and just being a good literary citizen, I think as well. Like, you know what the tropes are, you know what readers are saying, you have an idea of like, it's like being a chef and like not liking food. Like if you just make yourself a turkey sandwich every day, like who are you to to make food? And I've seen a lot of newer writers be so almost obsessed with the aesthetic of being a writer and in their own little worlds that they're creating, which is, it's so fun to create your own world. Like, I get it, but it's so much easier to be good at doing that if you're actively like reading a bunch. So like, I'm not talking 100 books a year or anything like that, but just having a book that you read a little bit of every day goes a long way.
No, I absolutely agree. That's a huge reason as to why I ask about the current reads in the beginning, is putting that focus on reading, because it is such a massive tool that you wouldn't think we would miss out on, but it does slip our minds every now and then.
Go out of the way to do that, because a lot of my entertainment is like watching a YouTube essay like while I'm eating. And I am now starting to make reading part of my writing practice and like part of the rituals that I do, and doing it when I wake up and doing it when I go to bed, and resisting the dark siren call of the phone scroll. And it's hard, but it's necessary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's perfect advice. Thank you. Okay. Have you ever thought about giving up? And if so, what kept you going?
Honestly, no, but debut's coming up. No, but I guess, well, I also was super lucky of how fast things happened. The first book I finished is the first book I queried, is the first book I'm getting published. So I know that that's an outlier, and it's just lucky timing, like the stars aligned. The rituals that I've been practicing have worked. I've appeased the creature in the lake that gives you book deals. So that hasn't happened yet. I have been trying to have realistic expectations of things as well, and trying not to move the goalpost. I just wanted to get an agent. Happened. I just wanted to get a book deal. What happens after? Now my goal is just to be able to publish enough books that I can make a career, and that doesn't mean I have to be Stephen King. Like, I just want to be able to keep publishing books. So not letting your goals change and expand. And yes, it'd be nice to be a bestseller and all of those things, but like, I think that if I keep on that track, then I should be good, but we'll see. But not yet.
Love it. I think that's totally great. I think the best part about doing this podcast has been able to see the different journeys, and there are some lows and then there are just some highs, and I think it's great to see and learn and hear all of them. So it's perfect. I love it. Okay, we've made it to like kind of rapid fire round, lighter questions. Outside of being an author, what is a fun fact about you that most people don't know?
Usually I go with my haunted dolls, but you can see them in the background of this. I have vitiligo. Do you know?
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
I should.
No,
I
no,
should.
no, you're okay. Well, Vitiligo Awareness Month is in June, so my middle name. It's an autoimmune condition, and that affects the pigment in your skin, so it gives people like white patches. And
Oh.
I'm I'm a white girl, so you don't really like see it until I get tan, but like my whole fingertips are turning white.
Okay.
And I got it when I was 20 and it's just spread. So like neck down, I just got a little polka dots on me. So I got a more interesting character design.
I love that. And you know what? As soon as you started explaining it, I was like, oh, yes,
You
I did know this.
didn't know
Okay.
vitiligo was canceled. Canceled
Yeah,
immediately.
I know.
And the
I'm
show.
like, love. Okay. Are there any out of pocket genres you would like to try your hand at writing? And it could be truly just crazy out of pocket or just different from what you're currently writing.
Ooh, I love like historical fiction. I have like an idea, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm the best person to like do this, and I don't know if my agent will like it's a pivot, but like I love researching like serial killers and stuff, and I found this like female serial killer that had like she explained what she did through supernatural means, and it was like a long long time ago, like in the turn of the century, and I'm like, somebody should write a book about her. Somebody should write like a literary horror adult book about her that like takes a bunch of like risks and doesn't actually follow the story to a T, but like catches the vibes of it. And I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be me. But I do have some ideas that are kind of like, I wish this existed. I don't know if I'm the girl. Can I hire someone to just make this happen so I can read it? Um, so it's a lot of like stuff like that. But I'm still very pleased with doing horror, even like more gothic, like less extreme horror. I'm not a splatterpunk girl. I'm not an extreme horror girl. I'm really squeamish. When things are icky, I get scared. So yeah, like more gothic stuff, like more historically based stuff. I'm such a historical fashion nerd. So something like that would be fun. But like for the time being, I'm writing a lot of YA. I'm writing horror gothic thrillers with magical monsters and stuff. And I'm pretty pleased thus far with the little niche that I'm in.
Love that. Well, if you ever did decide to do that, I believe that you could make it happen. I think you'd be the right person for it because that sounds so cool. Okay. Do you have a favorite trope to read or write in?
Ooh. I my first book is like religious horror, like cult horror, and I love anything like that. Like anything that subverts or plays with like existing like religion, I think is so cool and interesting. Like a lot of horror has its basis in like following like Christian like mythology of like demons and stuff. And you're seeing a lot more stuff like actually play with it and actually like call it what it is. And so I love anything like that. Like my favorite movie is Hereditary. I love the cult that's happening. And I love anything that kind of does stuff like that. So like whenever there's like a religious horror book or anything with a cult, I'm like, I want it, give it to me. And really anything in the genre that does something like that, I'm like, I'm so down. I'm so down.
Me and you both. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So if you ever have any recommendations, send them my way.
Okay. I loved Hell Followed With Us. Have you read that?
I don't think so.
It's 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 a doozy. It's like post-apocalyptic ish in America, and a trans teenager is growing up in this church that is like trying to cause Armageddon to happen. And they have this like bio weapon, but they call it like it's like an angelic thing. And so they're turning this kid into this bio weapon, and like the zombies are these like, oh, the body horror is like so gross. And so it's these essential like these people are trying to cause Armageddon, but they think that it's like divine. And he like escapes and has the weapons in him, so he's like his face is like rotting away and he grows wings, and it's just like I was gasping. It's very intense. I usually don't like anything that's like apocalyptic. Like I love zombies as dead things that come back. I don't like zombies as virus that will kill us all. Like I'm like, what's living? Culture's dead. There's no more books coming out. Like I don't want to be in this world. But I love this book. I could not breathe the whole time. It's really good, really intense. So whenever I recommend it to people, I'm like, it is like, and there's some descriptions in there that I was like, gag. It's so good. It's so good. It got me. And when something can get me, I'm like, ooh, ooh, give me more. Ooh.
I love it. Yeah, that's definitely going on the TBR. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that the Wachowski sisters are like making an animated movie or series about it. Like it was just picked up, and it makes so much sense to be animated. I'm like, perfect, perfect. So
Honestly, a lot of books, I'm like, I think we should just animate it.
I think we need more animation. Like it's not my career path anymore, but like I love animation. I think it's some of the coolest things humans have done, and the devaluing of art in general is bad. The devaluing of animation as like a children's media when I think it can do so many things, and a lot of children's things are good. Like Gravity Falls is better than most things that are out there right now. I still stand by that. So yeah, I think that it, as animation would like be awesome. I would love to see it in like an arcane kind of style. I think would
Yes.
really match the vibe. So
Arcane has my heart. And you are truly gifted in art. I've seen some of the stuff you've posted. Fabulous. Absolutely incredible. So cool. Okay, what is next for you? Any teasers on future projects, or even if you have events coming up you want to talk about?
um yeah, I am working on trying to think of how much I can say. I'm working on a project that has a road trip and cryptids, and I've been watching a lot of X-Files to prepare for it. That is your teaser. Events, I have a lot of events coming up that to the point where like the names of all of them are kind of like soup in my mind. I debut in like 30 days, I think. Let me check the countdown. We have 30 days. So I'm gonna be doing something in Portland right beforehand, and then I'm based nearish to Seattle. I'm Seattle adjacent, so I'll have some kind of event there, and I'll post once things are clear. But I'm gearing up to do a lot of events. I've been looking for a lot of spooky dresses to wear. I have my whole extended family coming to visit because I moved from like Northwest Ohio to the Seattle area, so like my whole people are scattered to the wind, and they're all gonna be in the same city to hear my spooky book. So very busy, very exciting. I'm trying to journal a lot to keep track of everything. That's something that I did see an author recommend for like your debut year, is to keep a journal and to write about how you're feeling because you'll forget. And I feel like once I got an agent, I've been in like this before and after, and it's really helpful to me whenever I'm feeling like down or overwhelmed to like read things that I had wrote when I wanted it so bad, and I'm like, oh, but you did it. So, that's my last thing of advice is when things start happening, because they will. Because the difference between people who get published and don't, and the people who keep trying, is write down your feelings and your worries and your successes so that you can revisit it constantly. I reread my journal entries all the time. I think keeping a journal when I was in high school has helped me like tap into the YA voice a lot. But yeah, I would say keep a journal. I need to write things down or I'll forget because I'm just getting a little overwhelmed. I'm very happy that there's other people who are helping me keep track of things. But yeah, a lot of events, a lot of things. So much things.
You're killing it. That is so exciting. Congratulations on all of it. And I love that advice. I'm a huge advocate for journal keeping. So I think that is very great advice. Thank you. I'm so excited to see everything you do with your book. You are just a little fun ball of sunshine to talk to. So thank you. I appreciate you. Your book is going to kill it.
The book is not fun ball sunshine.
Yes, we need to clarify that.
It's menacing and the vibes are a little different.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited, truly. I've been really, ever since I found you on social media, I've been really looking forward to this book. So you're killing it. You're going to do fantastic. I'm so excited for everything else that you come out with. But thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your advice. Truly, this was such a treat.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out with the listeners. but I'd love for you to hang back and chat for a minute. But thank y'all for listening, and we will see y'all next Thursday. Bye.